Oh, hello there. Yes, well, very, very, very safely through past midweek, I'm pleased to say. Yes, this week is zipping by and I'm getting a lot of stuff done. It means I've got a lot of time on my hands, but I'm using it productively, unlike some people, leading us neatly to some very, very stupid media stuff from yesterday. Yes, Alex Phillips rightly was laughed at for this, so let's have a look. I randomly stumbled across early 90s episodes of The Bill last night. Okay. At no point did the Met Police at Sunhill have to deal with machetes and zombie knives, people trafficking, terror plots, hammer marches, or non-hate crime incidents. It was a simpler time. Now, notwithstanding the fact that I cannot imagine being so underemployed or indeed having nothing to do that I'd watch old episodes of The Bill, a lot of people, in between giggling, pointing and laughing, did point out, of course, that The Bill is a bit of fiction, because it made me sort of think about, all those episodes of The Sweeney and Z-Cars and Softly Softly and Softly Softly Task Force, not Law and Order, because that was a bit of iffy one. All of that stuff from the 1970s. And at no point did any of those cop shows see the coppers beating a New Zealand teacher to death. It was a simpler time, unless, of course, you were the New Zealand teacher, because, of course, that's actual reality, which I'm not sure if that's a currency that Alex, or indeed Mike Graham, I should say, deals with. Coming on to him, he actually decided to double down on something that he'd posted very, very stupidly from his show the day before. We got this. Keir Starmer has not been invited to the inauguration of Donald Trump in a major snub. Yes, indeed. Now, as he put it, you can't mess around in politics and pretend you're in a student union. Mike, you do it all the time, mate, yeah? The Independent Republic of Mike Graham. He's not independent. He works for Rupert Murdoch. He's not a Republican. And I'm not entirely sure his first name is Mike. I think it's Michael. But that's just me being, picky and living in, reality. Earlier, simpler times, if you like. But the problem, of course, which everyone has pointed out, is that heads of state don't get invited. Sometimes they turn up. I do believe, having a cursory look, that Winston Churchill did and Theresa May did, if they happen to be in the area. But they don't get invited. So, rubbish, wasn't it? And leading on to the primary load of old tosh from yesterday in terms of anything to have a go, we come on to the gorgeous and pouting Darren Grimes, who wrote this. Keir Starmer's decision to repeal Troubles legislation means Gerry Adams is set to receive a bung from the British taxpayer for his time inside in the 1970s. Now, actually, let's read the next bit. The man is evil. Starmer once again shows he's not on the side of the national interest and takes the knee again. I'm not really quite sure if he's referring to Gerry Adams there or Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is Prime Minister and Gerry Adams is a highly respected international man who's well regarded across the globe because of his peace efforts in securing the Good Friday Agreement. But what Darren has done here, of course, is that classic right-wing thing that Alex and indeed Mike does, which is to see the world through the prism of a particularly dim-witted 8-year-old who earnestly believes that whatever happens at Sun Hill must be somehow a reflection of actual reality. Simpler in their head. Yes, you see, because the world, according to him, is divided into good people and bad people. If you're a good person who does something wrong or illegal, it really shouldn't count, right? Okay, you can think about all those Tory politicians who have done illegal things, but we just kind of don't talk about it, yeah? Michael Gove and emails and Priti Patel, her trips to Israel, or, Suella Braverman breaking the ministerial code, or, whatever it might be. It's just one of those things because they're good people. And then there are bad people. And they want to live in a world whereby if you're labelled as a bad person, because that's important, and something bad happens to you, which is illegal, then the police just shouldn't do anything about it at all because you are a bad man. And indeed, we come on to the actual Tory Torygraph's view of this. It said, this is the Telegraph view itself, terrorists must never receive compensation from the taxpayer. Okay. Hundreds of former terrorists and sympathisers may now qualify for compensation. Yeah, and sympathisers, you notice there, which is their kind of get out of jail free card. Because what happened to Gerry Adams was that he was detained illegally during the Troubles in the 1970s. And in fact, he tried to break out of Maze prison, I believe, twice, was convicted in and around that. But because he was arrested illegally in the first place, that's the key word there, illegally in the first place, those convictions were crushed. Now, it transpires that there is a possibility under a new sort of legal loophole that he might receive compensation for his time inside. You might think that that's a bad thing. You're fully entitled to that. But let's actually go to the article itself, because basically it was a piece that was written by Policy Exchange. Yes, those lovely Tufton Street boys with no political agenda whatsoever have been at it again. But it's worthwhile reading this and deconstructing the utter nonsense that it is. This should have been the end of the matter, but the government has now decided the High Court's judgment should have been accepted. Okay, legal shenanigans, you know what they do. It is using powers under the Human Rights Act 1998, yes, to make a remedial order overturning the barrier to compensation put in place by the last Parliament. Yes, because the last Parliament, under the Conservatives, decided they didn't really want to do that because that's the Conservatives for you. But there you go, whatever, you might agree with that or not. Good people, bad people and simplistic views. Yes, indeed. A Policy Exchange paper signed by 16 eminent peers. Yeah, eminent peers. Are there any non-eminent peers? Not in this category, no. Has called this inexplicable. And here it gets really, really good. Let's try this, okay? But if you factor every decision through a legalistic human rights prism rather than focus on what is sensible and just. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't see how you can possibly approach a bit of legislation around human rights through any other prism rather than a legalistic human rights one. Yeah? How else would you do that in a legal human rights kind of way? I honestly have no idea. I have no idea realistically what that means. But what they mean by sensible is agrees with us. He's a bad man and shouldn't get any money. Bad man shouldn't get money. And just, yeah? These are like the Sun newspaper. I remember when the lottery was first a big thing and various winners who were criminals, got like £1 million, and they said, they need to take it away from them because they're criminals. No, that isn't the way it works, okay? If you're a convicted criminal and you win a large amount of money on the lottery, you've won a large amount of money on the lottery. Your convicted status has nothing to do with that. Yes? Yeah? If you're a bad person that has something illegal happen to them by the state, you are likely going to be eligible for compensation. That's the way it works. I'm sorry if that's too hard for people to understand. It's astounding, isn't it? Yeah. I stand here as an adult, but these people can't. Yeah, it's like, he's bad, so he shouldn't get the money. Yeah, but it's a legal thing. I don't care. They should just make the law different so that bad people don't get money. Oh, okay then. Yes. And yeah, here we go. This is a serious weakness in Sir Keir Starmer, a human rights lawyer by training and instinct. Okay. Instinctually, he's a human rights person. Well, I think instinctually, we all should be human rights persons. You see, one of the things, again, about these people don't understand is they cannot get their heads around the concept that everybody has human rights. They just can't manage it. It's like, what, even bad people? Yes, especially bad people. This is what human rights legislation was designed for. The primary thing that human rights legislation is centred on, if you like, is the notion of prisoners. Because, of course, once you pick people up in a prison system and they're denied human rights, they end up dead. Yes, that one. That's the whole thing. But anyway, on a broader level, you see, what this has done is enabled the media to go on a let's picture that very bad man, Gerry Adams, widely respected international politician, key architect of the Good Friday Agreement, recall, yeah, and senior statesperson both north and south of the border. Sinn Féin were a major political force in Ireland. I know a lot of people in this country don't know very much about Northern Ireland, or indeed Southern Ireland. Might just have a hint for you. You could read a book. Here we go. Try that one. Try that one, right? The Troubles. You could try reading. No, too much like hard work. You know, it wasn't that long ago, 30 years ago, and then 30 years before that, and then 400 years before that. But yeah, that requires some more reading. But you could, couldn't you? No. Anyway, let's picture, finally, finishing off, old Gerry Adams with some of his terrorist sympathisers. Here's one, for example. Yeah, you may notice him. Yeah, evil man that he is, right? Here's another one, Boo Hiss, yeah, Boo Hiss. And finally, in terms of evil terrorist sympathisers, there's at least 2 of them there. However, it's not illegal to be a terrorist sympathiser. It's not illegal to have done bad things in the past and then make amends by making sure that you make a better future for everybody, which is what the 2 people in this photograph have done. Yeah, I don't personally like the politics of at least one of them, but I don't think that he should have been treated unfairly under the law. And that doesn't make me a good or a bad person. That simply makes me somebody who doesn't accept that magically we lived in a simpler time back then, or a simpler time now. Anyway, do have a gorgeous, and indeed probably pouting Thursday. Please do.